Have you ever just stopped and wondered what makes CoComelon so captivating for little kids? I mean, it's like a magnet. Well, it turns out there is a seriously powerful formula at play. So that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going behind the rhymes, and we're going to analyze some of the world's most popular kids' content like it's a data set, all to uncover that hidden structure.
Now, if you've ever been in a room while it's on, you know that on the surface it can sound, well, a lot like this. It's this vibrant, almost overwhelming jumble of sounds, and animal noises, and little pieces of songs you kind of know. It just feels random, totally chaotic, right?
But what if it's not random at all? What if there's a really precise, really deliberate method to all that seeming madness? That's the big question we're tackling. Is there a hidden formula? All right, let's crack this thing open.
Okay, so as soon as we started digging in, our first and honestly our biggest clue just jumped right out of us. It's something you have definitely noticed, but maybe you haven't realized just how sophisticated it is. We're talking about a powerful, multi-layered repetition engine. And this is the absolute foundation of the whole thing.
So, let's take a classic example from the source material, the bingo song. It kicks off super simply, right? It establishes the core pattern by spelling out the full name, B-I-N-G-O. Straight away, a young brain learns the complete sequence. Easy enough.
And then, the magic happens. A tiny, predictable change gets introduced. The B is swapped out for a clap. Now this is where it gets really smart, because it keeps the rhythm and the structure the brain just learned, but it adds this tiny, super manageable variation. And you know it just keeps building from there. Now we've got 2 claps. The pattern becomes even more predictable. And that creates this amazing sense of mastery and engagement for a kid. They can anticipate exactly what's coming next, and that feels awesome. It's like they're in on the secret.
By the time we get to this point, most of the letters are gone, but the song's structure is still perfectly intact in the listener's head. So what you've got here isn't just a song, right? It's basically a pattern recognition workout for a developing brain. It's teaching sequence and memory in the simplest, most effective way you can imagine.
And this whole repetition thing, it isn't just a one-off trick. It's working on 3 totally different levels. First up, you've got micro-repetition. You know, simple stuff like a duck saying quack, quack, quack. Then there's macro-repetition, which is where the entire structure of a verse repeats, like in 5 little ducks as each one disappears. And then, get this, content repetition. That's where whole songs get reused over and over, creating this universe of absolute comfort and predictability.
Okay, so repetition is huge, but it's not the whole story. Not even close. Our next clue shows us there's a really clear educational framework that's basically hidden in plain sight. These aren't just simple little songs. They're very carefully constructed learning blocks. And when you start looking at what's actually being taught, it's pretty deep. You've got basic subtraction taught visually in 5 little ducks. Spelling, of course, is baked right into B-I-N-G-O. But look closer. You find lessons on everything from animal names to social skills like saying please, and even pretty complex moral lessons from fables about why work comes first. These aren't just songs, they are fundamental building blocks for learning. All right, so that brings us to our third big clue, because beyond the repetition and the learning blocks, there's this really clever use of narrative. See, a lot of these songs are actually simple, self-contained stories, and they're designed to model these basic emotional journeys and give kids really clear, digestible morals. Just take The Ant and the Grasshopper from our source material. It's a perfect little 4-act play. Act 1 sets the whole scene, Act 2 delivers the warning, Act 3, we get the conflict. Uh-oh, winter's here. And Act 4 gives us that resolution and the super clear moral. You get this whole story, setup, conflict, resolution, all in like 60 seconds. It's incredible.
And here's the really clever part. They use the same story blueprint over and over again. Just compare 5 Little Ducks and 5 Little Speckled Frogs. Both start with 5 characters. In both songs, those characters disappear, one by one. And crucially, both songs end with a safe and happy resolution. What that does is teach this really important, comforting core lesson. Hey, things might seem a little scary or uncertain, but everything is going to be okay in the end. So through these little story blueprints, the content is actually modeling how to handle some pretty key emotions. The story of the 5 little eggs is all about overcoming the fear of trying something new, like learning to fly. The Itsy Bitsy Spider, that's a masterclass in perseverance. And Humpty Dumpty, that's all about facing a problem and trying to fix it. I mean, these are huge, complex feelings, but they're boiled down into these tiny, relatable stories. Okay, so when you take all these pieces, the repetition, the learning, the little stories, that chaos we talked about at the beginning, it starts to look like something else entirely.
It looks like a highly organized, incredibly effective system. We can now reveal the complete formula.
So, this is it. This is the CoComelon formula. It all works together as one big system. You have the repetition engine that builds this comfortable, predictable world. Then, you've got learning blocks embedded inside to seamlessly teach everything from numbers to morals. On top of that, you use reusable narrative blueprints to model safety and resolution. And finally, you have positive emotional modeling to help kids navigate big feelings. It's not chaos at all. It's a finely tuned machine built for maximum captivation.
So, what started out as what we thought was just a random jumble of sounds and songs is actually revealed to be this incredibly sophisticated educational system. The chaos has a code. Which leaves us with one final question for you. Now that you can see the code, can you ever hear these songs the same way again?